मैं आपको लिंक दे रहा हूँ अब, ठीक है। हम्म।
उसका लिंक दे दो ना।
नहीं आ जाएंगे लोग ऐसे। दे रहा हूँ कॉपी लिंक। देखो देखो, ठीक है। और पीछे करूँ? इतने में आ जाएंगे ना आगे लोग आ रहे आगे 10 वो हो जाएंगे। ये शेयर करेंगे ना आपस में ग्रुप में सारे। हाँ उधर से आवाज आ रही बढ़ जाएगा अब मैं इस पे तो सही जाएगा। देखो आदि अच्छा
인지도 빨리 올라요. 운전기사도 많고 뭐도 같이 나타나는 운전기사도 많고 나랑 같이 빨리 왔어.
ये मचाने कैसे टिकट कोने में डाल है ना, या इधर लगा दो मेरे पास। बोल दो इसमें जाकर देखना फ्रेम में आ रहा हूँ। थोड़ी देर में मणिपुर पर प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस लाइव है, आप लोग जुड़े रहिए। कुछ ही मिनटों में आपको सारा हाल बताएंगे। जिस तरह से हिंसा जातीय हिंसा हो रही है मणिपुर में, सिविलियन पर अटैक हो रहा है, रॉकेट लॉन्चर का प्रयोग किया जा रहा है, तो उसी से सिलसिले में ये प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस है। तो आप लोग ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा शेयर कर दीजिए इसको अलग अलग ग्रुप्स में, जिससे लोगों तक पहुंच जाए, और विदिन 5 मिनट वी विल स्टार्ट। धन्यवाद। आया था आवाज, आया था यहाँ तक आवाज आया। मेरा चेहरा आ रहा था उसमें। हाँ पूरा ठीक है, मैं चेंज कर क्योंकि शुरू हो गई आगे लैपटॉप से डिस्टर्ब हो रहा है, थोड़ा सा 2-3 मिनट आप वहीं तो स्टार्ट करें। हाँ बोलो कितना 32 हाँ हाँ ठीक है। यहाँ कमेंट
तब मैंने सबको सबसे पहले फोन ड्रेस बुकिंग करना मैं आगे दिन पहुँच गया तो उसी से फटाफट करके ये
पास में चलता हूँ रिकॉर्ड करूँगा कोई तो आएगा बोलना
क्या मेरी बात एक ही जरूर शुरू झूठ बोलो जो क्या बोलना होंगे बिल्कुल क्या है हमारे
Hello. Hello. आप सभी प्रेस के दोस्त को पहले हमारी तरफ से नमस्कार और धन्यवाद आज की प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस को के शामिल होने के लिए। सब स्वागत है यहाँ पे। इस प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस के जो हमारे स्पीकर्स हैं सभी को हम पहले डाइस में बुला लेते हैं। सबसे आगे है प्रोफेसर कमोल सिन्हा, जेएनयू का प्रोफेसर है, उनको डाइस में बुलाते हैं। और नंबर 2 में मैडम कर्नल गिरिजा नोरेमो। और नंबर 3 में डॉक्टर बिबिनास पक्टोम, डॉक्टर बी.आर. अम्बेडकर यूनिवर्सिटी के लेक्चरर है, उनको बुला लेते हैं। और सोशल एक्टिविस्ट एलिजाबेथ मुलंगम।
हाँ फ्री वो कर नहीं सही।
मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ प्रोफेसर विमोल जी को वेलकम एड्रेस देने की आज की प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस। उसके बाद हम जो आज की प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस की बारे में के कीनोट एड्रेस है, उसके बाद में पहले वेलकम एड्रेस के बाद कीनोट एड्रेस करेंगे। उसके बाद हम लोग वीडियो प्रेजेंटेशन करेंगे।
लाइव हो गया ना, लाइव जा रहा है, आपकी पीठ जा रही है।
Good afternoon. Each and everyone present here. Would like to thank
माइक को क्लोज
press media for know that coming and covering this event or this press briefing. And I welcome my fellow colleagues who will be deliberating on the incident. So once again, I thank all of you and thank you.
थैंक यू।
एक्सक्यूज मी, इसमें कनेक्ट कर दें ऑडियो वाईफाई।
हमें 2 मिनट दीजिए, एक वीडियो प्रेजेंटेशन करना है आपके सामने। तो
थोड़ा सा
You can do that.
नाम देने का माइक्रोफोन आणि होऊन जातो आणि कसं
एलिजाबेथ के सामने ये आप इधर आ जाओ। चेंज द सीट।
ऐसा उसको कनेक्ट तो करो वो हो नहीं रहा सर मैं पासपोर्ट को दे रहा हूँ अच्छा वहाँ पे वही जो
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Clearly? Thank you. Thank you all for joining us today and for your presence at the Press Club of India. Am I audible?
You just close the mic.
ये सारे माइक कर देना सारे माइक एक माइक और कर देना सर
So today, we come together at a time that calls for attention, reflection, and responsibility. Today's press conference, titled as Cookie Militants Campaign of Terror on Meiteii Civilians, a call for action, aims to bring forward voices seeking justice and lasting peace. We are honored to have a distinguished panel with us, including a member of one of the gruesome incidents victims' family, joining from Manipur online, along with respected scholars and community representatives. I also extend my gratitude to all the organizing bodies for making this platform possible. Let us proceed with seriousness, empathy, and a shared commitment to justice. Thank you. So we will start with the presentation. Are we ready?
We are taking little time. So we request the speaker.
So, okay. Meanwhile, we will have a round of introduction, self-introduction from all the speakers. I'm not sure how they are going to shift around the mic.
So, myself, Professor Komor, from JNU, we are happy to know that get questions from and answer to you that the incident that unfortunate incident happened on 7th. So really we are saddened with this by this incident. The militant atrocities against the civilian military. So that we are really so for that we will have one video conference. Through the video conference, we will know that here the victims that version as well. So thank you. With the next round, we will have the stage.
Good afternoon to all the media fraternities who are going to cover today's press conference. Please take it in that way as through the media that we are appealing for peace and for accountability as well as for justice for all the civilian victims of Manipur. And especially the targeted innocent civilians. I'm Elizabeth. I work on women and children issues across different areas in India and in Manipur. So today, the incident that happened in the early morning of 7th April, of all the series of targeted attacks that are happening, is one that will haunt us, because today we stand as parents, as mothers. When your infant, you are sleeping, protecting them in your bed, and they are killed while you are sleeping. Where is the safety of us and our children? And both the children being killed being once, what does it indicate? It indicates the killing of one generation. Isn't it genocide? How much United Nations definitions of genocide that are we going to speak up again and again, and who is taking care and who is going to act? Who is the elephant in the room in the Manipur conflict? This is something that media has to investigate. We are not talking here, we are appealing that we do media judgment, but media focuses on the crux, what has gone wrong, and why things are not taking place in Manipur. This is the appeal that we will speak.
नमस्कार सभी ये रूम में सब आए सभी को मेरे तरफ से नमस्कार। मेरा नाम है लेफ्टिनेंट कर्नल लॉरेंस गिरिजा देवी, रिटायर्ड फ्रॉम द पैरामेडिकल स्टाफ ऑफ आर्मी मेडिकल कोर्स इंडियन आर्मी। आज हम लोग इधर ही असेंबल कर रही है क्योंकि 27 रात को मिडनाइट 1 बजे करीब हमारा एक बीएसएफ का जवान का फैमिली में टारगेट कर इसका 2 बच्चा, आप देखो 5 साल का एक लड़का और 5 महीने का एक लड़की, बेटी और एक बेटा, दोनों को बम से उड़ाकर दोनों का जान चली गई। आप देखो एक बीएसएफ का जवान, बीइंग ए जवान ऑफ भारत फॉर आवर डिफेंस, उसका घर का उसका बच्चा, वो जवान बिहार में अपना भारत के लिए काम कर रही है और इसका बच्चा और बीवी घर में है, इसको हम लोग सुरक्षित नहीं कर सकती है। और सीआरपीएफ का 2 बटालियन, बीएसएफ एंड असम राइफल सब लोग उधर ही है, फिर भी हम लोग नहीं बचा सकते दोनों का। दिस इज इनजस्टिस। एंड फर्स्टली हम लोग आज डिस्कस करने के लिए जा रहे हैं, एक तो हमारा गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, स्पेशली हमारा प्राइम मिनिस्टर, पावरफुल मैन, लीडर इन द वर्ल्ड, ये हमारे जो 2 मासूम मणिपुर का बच्चा मर गए हैं, फिर भी एक भी वर्ड्स मुंह से नहीं निकला। मैंने बहुत बार देखा है हमारा प्राइम मिनिस्टर हर 15 अगस्त में, हर एवरी ईयर I keep watching it on the TV, but whenever he goes for all 15 August, he goes to all the children, especially for the NCC, for other children, and he mix up and he gives love and care to all the children. I have seen him going to foreign countries, and wherever the Indian life for their children are there, he used to take care, he used to love the children. But when there is 2 children of meiteii was killed, that means he has not expressed anything. That means he has no love and affection for the meiteii children. Why so? And secondly, हमारा होम मिनिस्टर अमित शाह जी अपना बीएसएफ जवान का फैमिली का 2 बच्चा मर गए, फिर भी एक वर्ड भी नहीं बोला है। आप सोचो जवान का मॉडल क्या होगा। मणिपुर का meiteii लोग, the maximum meiteiis are in the armed forces, in the defense, उसको मॉडल आप सोचो। और not only meiteii, बाकी other citizen of भारत, all the jawans, the model. So it is an injustice, and they should look after their BSF jawan, they should look after their CRPF jawan, their families, and all the defense forces, their families. Being from the defense forces, we were, when I was in the service, we all our voice for today. Thank you.
Today that we are gathering and to express our hurt and deeply mourning emotions that prevail in the entire Manipur. Today I would like to express in the words of a person, of a son died in Otro when a bomb was fired. The mother of Navy said, "Since yesterday I've been carrying injured youths to the hospital. My son has died for protecting the village, for protecting our land. But I don't want to happen this to other families, but it goes on happening." The announcement of ex gratia has no meaning in a mother's life when these things are happening. We always say that when this kind of incident happens, this should not be continued, but why in a sustained manner it is happening? We want to ask, we want to tell the media that now that things are over the brink, who is going to be the next victim, who's going to be the next target, one never knows. Why life has become so insecure, and our mothers dare to cry and carry injured persons when something has happened to hospitals. Is this the life of meiteis that has been earmarked or what, and what is the strategy that has been made out? Here once we know that from among all the tragedies that have taken place, in the early morning of 7th April around 1 a.m. as we found, a propelled bomb targeted the house of a BSF personnel who was guarding the nation in another part of India in Bihar. His wife and children who were sleeping peacefully were targeted, and unfortunately, in a very sabotaging manner, the children died. The way the children died, I don't know whoever killed him. What will happen to his life? Because it is all against humanity. So the question now is that when the mother was bringing up the injured child, the other woman was telling, if you have seen that the videos that have been uploaded in the media, he will be okay, he will be okay, she will be okay. But he is not okay, she is not okay. Right there the children died. This is what that haunts us. It will haunt every community. I don't know about the killers. Will they be called terrorists? Will they be called baby killers? Whatever they are, but they are murderer of souls, murderer of a community. This is what we were awakened when things were settling down a little bit. Do we know that the people of Manipur and in the Imphal Valley, the people are very resilient to have peace. The festering streets of Imphal or Bishenpur from May 2023 till now, people are trying to build their lives. There were festivities, people were thronging for that, we all know. And when things are about to normalize or to a certain level, the people are trying to live their normal living days, then this kind of thing always happens. Whatever now in the sequences we know, the beginning of 2026, what happened to Mayamandam Rishikanta? His folded hands, with his knee bowed down, asking to save his life. His wife was the cooking, their own people. He said they have taken the permission of KNO, KNO denied. Again they have said that KNO, UKNA is the culprit of those killers, UKNA denied. Then who is killing? Who are the invisible forces? The streets are spread with rumors. We will say, who among the security or the government forces whose hands are going to be clean when more than 60,000 boots are stationed in Manipur to protect, to control, to lower down the situation, but things are not being maintained. Sneaking in and out, these things are happening. what happened to Sophia in Bisenpur? She was a farmer. She was farming, and then a shot fired from the nearby hills, in which the Kuki militant, the video that was released coming out, we just fired to show them that what we can do. Till now, the reports in national media have not said suspected militants, suspected. But if we look at the chronology, when the missile was fired in Moirang in September 2004, elderly citizen was killed. The Kuki militants, they have come out with the video that how we have fired and what we have done. If we are not able to target, or if we are able to pinpoint as a government, when the militants themselves who are in the act themselves are admitting and sending out videos, then what is the government hiding? So we are not going to ask the government. That means the government knows who are the invisible hands. By saying this, I may be targeted, or we may be targeted, you are becoming an anti-national, or you are saying against the government. No, it's not like that. What happened to the incident in Ibenta? When things were normalizing, not normalizing in the sense of peace is there, because the fields had to be catered to, because the stomach has to be filled. It was time to rear for the crops. Without food, how one is going to survive? She was stealing her field, and she was shot by a bullet fired from the hills. No meiteis are staying in the hills. Who are staying in the nearby hills? How many Sioux camps are there in the hills? The government knows, the security person knows, even the child in Manipur will know which Sioux camps are being stationed in nearby areas of Imphal Valley, in Imphal West or Imphal West or Kangpokpi or nearby Churichanpur or Bisenpur. And when she said, the media carried a lot. When she knows that she was being killed, am I going to die? The boy who was trying to have her said, no. But no becomes a yes, because before the departed soul, she must have said. And then, am I going to die? Before dying, minutes before the dying, the very person was saying that and died. So, this is the life that we have been living. And how many have been killed and targeted by this? What about the Geneva? The case has been handed over to NIA. All the cases have been handed over to NIA. Between Gandhi and MNK, two young youths traveling. They were mislaid, they were caught by whatever the reason, their body is still not found. And what did the person, one of the person who was caught by the NIA and released on bail said? The last person, the two youths were picked up were Kuki militants. And we know that as women of Manipur, we were empowered, we were elated that for the first time in the history of Manipur, a deputy chief minister is a woman from Manipur belonging to the Kuki conglomerate. Because I don't think Kuki is a tribe. Many tribes come under the form of the Kuki. It is like an immunity. She was not able to travel to a coordinated attack in that house particularly. That means that a kind of recce as well as how things will go. You hit one stone and then let the state burn again. So who are these people who don't want peace, who don't want normalcy, and whose interests are not going to be in their best of intention when peace and normalcy returns in Manipur? And why? The question is that more than 3 years now, almost 3 years this is happening. The mob situation that happened in May 4th, if we look at it, that has not ended. But what is happening after a few of these mob violence that has happened is intermittent violent attacks to the civilians are taking place. in the definition of war, when you are fighting by an armed person with another armed person or group, you are at war, you are at conflict. We look at in the Ukraine scenario, in the Iran scenario, we know that armed groups are fighting, armed soldiers are fighting one another. But when an armed militant group are not fighting with the security forces for one separation from Manipur or whatever it was, but only targeting the civilians, women, children, what does that indicate? We don't need to be so literate to understand in this kind of circumstance in India. That means you are a terrorist or a terrorist multiplying into a monster. So, you please go and look at the videos. What will happen to that market? The cries and yelling, this is what India wants to hear always from Manipur, or the forgotten state of Manipur. What does the citizen of India think about it? Always a fight always goes there, always things are happening there, tribal fights. Are things happening in Manipur, tribal fights? No. This will question either the supporting the situation or the incompetencies of the different facets of the state. It may be elected members, the government structure, the police, and those in the intelligence. The arrest of those 6 Ukrainians and then American who is linked to a security agency of United States. What does it indicate? The drones that have been flying, the bombs that have been brought through bombs, that corporate type, missile type that was launched in Iran, what does it indicate? The dots have been connected. Now that when we talk of deep state, how many deep states or whose deep state are taking part in the conflict in Manipur, and things have been asked to rear like this. So now the question that we are asking is, now the government has to be formed. I do not know whether the state government are in a position to tackle the situation in this kind of a manner, because in 2023, the former chief minister, when he was the chief minister and he was holding the portfolio of a home minister, said that the home department is not in my hand. President came, nothing as such happened. It seemed to be like just banning the situation to control. That immediate violence does not happen, target attacks may happen. A demand for popular government was issued and a popular government came. Are the chief minister are actually able to function accordingly, or it is remote control, or in consonance with the Delhi here are taking place? We don't know, because there is a kind of a trust deficit that has been created because we never know. But one thing is, whatever that action that has not taken to control the violence and who are wielding the guns, so that Manipur remain like this for whatever agenda or strategy that has yet to be achieved by India government or not, for whatever the reason, the routes that are culminating to this kind of violence are not taken out. Merely the branches are cut so that this continues. The question now here is asked, the extension of Su, is this going to be the problem? Is this going to be the root? And this kind of violence are accentuated and took place intermittently. Up and down and up and down, it's going like that. That means the core issues of Manipur are waylaid or sidetracked. So that the core issues, the demand of the core issues should never come up. Here, I would like to say here is that the Jiribam killings and other miners that were killed so far, and this too, all the world leaders during Second World War First World War, and different conflict theaters in the world have said that safety and security to be provided to children and vulnerable sections is for collective action to be taken. What is the collective action that has taken place to provide safety and security to bring normalcy in the state? The Prime Minister of India, the Government of India, and Government of Manipur has to look into this. So far, this kind of firmness we have not seen. Why the firmness is not there, this is what we have been asking and still asking. Now it is through the medium of the media, please tell that we do not want any more narratives. We do not want any more propaganda. But why Manipur things are going on? It is not merely insurgency, it is not merely militancy, but a targeted genocidal steps by taking refuge in the name of ethnic conflict between the Meiteis and the Kukis. If we are looking at that, what is happening between the Naga groups that are happening, between the Tangkuls and the Kukis? What has been done there? No matter what, the people have been keeping quiet. Maybe the rumors in the streets are going to come out as questions. People who ask questions are going to be targeted or not targeted or being labeled as anti-India. If asking a question is anti-India, then who is a citizen? The citizen who does not ask any question when something are not happening in the right way or things are not happening, then that is not a citizen, but that is just a minion. Are the citizens of India, are we Manipuris minions of another variety of human beings? We are not. The economy is in such a bad shape, but how that people are still resilient to fight, to come back. You may kill Sophia, you may kill Idenza, you may massacre anybody like Jibabu killings, but will these killings are going to indicate that you don't want Meiteis to stay in Manipur? Why you are targeting a community which is asking for peace to prevail? If no collective action is taken, a proper agenda is not taken up by the state government, by inputs from the central government, then tomorrow the government of this day will be asked by the next generation that what have you done? What wrong have you done? What wrong you have not righted so far? By saying this, I would like to give to Madam.
We will have a big presentation, a video audio presentation, which is attempting to capture, this is capturing some reality which is happening in the context of Manipur. And along with this, we will also talk a little more detail about what is not making sense to us in this kind of topic. get back to the main topic for today. And these are not very pleasant pictures and videos that we have just captured to our naked eyes. And this is something which is happening in reality. It may sound very distant when you go outside of that context. So I want to begin by saying that I'm not a media-trained speaker or neither an expert in political analysis. I speak as an ordinary human from a place of deep concern. I draw together what I have learned, what I have sought to understand, and what many of us may already feel, even if we have not yet found the words. I had to prepare my speech because this is a very difficult and sensitive topic to address. While I'm speaking about this, I am already filled with so many mixed emotions that I can't express through words altogether. So I hope you bear with me. We gather today in the dark shadow of an unbearable loss. 2 young children just beginning their lives. Taken from us in Manipur, a guerrilla-style RPG attack, widely suspected to have been carried out by armed Kuki militants, struck a civilian home in Tronglawi village in Bisnupur district, Manipur. The village lies barely a kilometer from a CRPF camp stationed between Meitei settlements and nearby Kuki-dominated hill areas. The attack occurred in the wee hours when the family was fast asleep. Inside the house were 2 children, 2 very young children. A 5-year-old infant, Yaisna, beautiful name, meaning of Yaisna is a precious gold. She was recently brought back to Manipur for her Chaumpa, which is a Nivala ceremony. She is yet to test her first solid food. And the other child is a 4-year-old brother, Tongtin. Again, let's look at the meaning of the name. Tongtin means a ray of light. Both resting in their mother's arms. When the rocket bomb hit and exploded, the children were killed instantly. Their mother survived with severe injuries and was rushed to the hospital. Local residents were the first to respond, rushing to the site in an attempt to rescue the family, only to find the 2 children could not be saved. What raises deeper concern is this. Despite the proximity of a CRPF camp, there are serious questions about the absence of an immediate response to the blast. Accounts circulating suggest that the sound of such a powerful explosion did not prompt timely intervention. This incident is not only a tragedy, it demands urgent attention and accountability. As we all know by now, Manipur is a state of India that continues to experience recurring armed violence, a state that for many across the country feels distant geographically, politically, and emotionally. We must resist that distance today. Behind what we call an incident is a family whose life has been irrevocably altered. A mother lies in intensive care, severely injured, and we are left to wonder quietly, what does she hold onto in such a moment? The struggle to survive, the knowledge of losing her 2 little babies, or the worry of her destroyed home, or all of these in the same breath. We may not have answers, but we do have a responsibility to remain present in this loss and to recognize the human reality at the center of our discussion today. For many who are not directly connected to Manipur, what is unfolding may appear as a series of brief, intermittent events, moments that barely enter national attention, and then fade like footprints on wet cement. But for those living within it, this is not intermittent. It is continuous. It shapes how people navigate through their days, how they make decisions, how they imagine their futures. It becomes part of the background of life, quietly entering routines, relationships, and even silences. As Dina Das, a renowned anthropologist, reminds us, violence does not stay confined in the moments it occurs. It bleeds into everyday life. It is lived through gestures, hesitation, and what we cannot easily say. What happens appears from a distance as an event is, for those within it, an ongoing condition. It is carried not only in the memories, but it is in the very texture of daily life. This difference in perception, the lived reality versus the distant observation, must be taken seriously now. This is not a game, not a form of entertainment. Living continuously in a state of conflict turns every step into an obstacle to progress. It is within this gap that indifference quietly takes root, and once it does, violence stops shocking humans as it should be. The bomb blast, the gunfires, it doesn't shock people anymore. And I'll come to more details of why it doesn't happen. Speaking of the recent terrorizing attack by the suspected armed Kuki militants, the death of 2 little babies and the injured mother in a bomb blast, 3 protesters reportedly killed in gunfire from the CRPF security forces for protesting and raising their voices becomes something a distant observer noticed briefly and then moved past. To understand the loss we are addressing today, we must also situate it in time and specific context. The current phase of violence in Manipur did not begin yesterday. It escalated sharply in May 2023, as we all know, following tensions around land, identity, political recognition. What began as conflict over competing claims hardened into polarized narratives. Communities were increasingly framed as fixed opposing groups. Early media coverage simplified these tensions into binaries, majority versus minority, Hindu versus Christian. Over time, these framings hardened into sharper ethnic divides between the Meiteis and the Kukis. In these moments, narratives do not just describe reality, it shapes the reality. Stories of threats, victimhood, and retaliation circulated widely. They amplified fear and narrowed the space for dialogue. State authorities, on the other hand, did not intervene promptly to stop the chaos, or attempts fell short. Gradually, these narratives strengthened identities along lines of division, making coexistence seem almost impossible. Amid these narratives, certain voices recede, the voices of the most affected, the injured, the bereaved, the displaced, the internally displaced persons who lost their homes in relief camps are often overshadowed by social media stories and hostile narratives claiming to speak for them. Discussions often shift to historical, political context and policy debates. Responses are framed in representation of victims, but are not always grounded in their lived realities. The state leadership resigned on February 5, 2025 after this cultivated ethnic violence escalated and armed groups mobilized alongside polarized narratives, no party could form a stable government, and the president's rule was imposed on February 9, 2025. We all know the details through whatever sources that we get from the internet. Disarmament became a state priority, but implementation was uneven. Security forces recovered a significant number of looted police weapons, including rifles and ammunition. Authorities called for voluntary surrender of arms. Meiteis, who took arms, citing community protection, largely complied. Armed groups in Kuki-dominated areas were less responsive, arguing that their weapons were not looted from state armories. No further enforcement measures were issued, allowing these groups to operate with impunity. This incomplete disarmament fueled Meitei civilians' insecurity, fear of unpredictable attacks, and heightened anxiety in displacement camps and along community borders. The public paranoia and anger are organic psychological reactions to losses and griefs. This situation became fertile ground for suspicion towards central peace-building efforts. Even amid this fear and anger, there is a deep sense of care and love within the Meitei community. A bond that even in this intense emotional stage holds the possibility of peace. While central intervention deployed thousands of security personnel and administrative control, these were later reduced in early 2026 after a surface-level decline in violence. The situation remained fragile, that only the directly affected Meitei villages can testify. As a Meitei speaker, I understand the responsibility to protect our community and identity. Yet, I urge that we must be cautious. Allowing fear and anger to dictate our actions risks perpetuating the cycle of violence. Thousands of displaced persons remain in precarious conditions, unable to return home safely. I also appeal to Kuki leaders and intellectuals to recognize the dangerous consequences of keeping armed groups alive and active. I actually had written active, but there are also some things that comes out of your mind. And we basically said it in psychology, whatever slips through your tongue also it carries some kind of conscious question. I'm not going into the detail of it. Beyond cycles of fear and anger, all communities in Manipur must remember that our choices are guided by conscience. This shared humanity must enter us so that the fragile possibility of reconciliation is not lost. When arms remain alongside poles of peace, violence can re-emerge even after apparent calm. And this is what we have seen because weapons and arms persist. To name a few, even after official directives to surrender arms, attacks continued in Meitei villages near Kuki-dominated areas. In September 2024, a high-tech drone bombing in the Kochu village marked a new escalation, killing 2 civilians and injuring over 10. In the same year, another attack was carried out by the Kuki militants in Moirang and killed a Meitei shaman. In November 2024 again, in Jiribam, women and children were abducted and killed, which we also saw in the video. In 2025, farmers were attacked. In their paddy fields, a man was shot in the hand, a woman shot, and later succumbed to death. Her last cry that we just heard, also have seen on the video, her last cry still echoes today. Am I going to die? Ibu Sida. Residents nearby the shootout areas abandoned their lands in fear of recurrence of such heavy armed violence. Although security forces have been deployed and have sometimes intervened to lower tensions, attempts remain unfruitful and farmers remain fearful of returning to their fields. In January 2026 again, Risikanta Mayanglapan was shot at point blank range on an open public road in Churachandpur in the wee hours again. While visiting his cookie wife, he was shot mercilessly, despite his plea with folded hands to spare his life. His plea was videotaped by the killers and kept viral to mock Meitei community. These killers have lost their conscience and sanity. They are dangerous to the Meitei society today, but they can also be dangerous, they can become dangerous to their own community, people and others too. Their psychological delirium has reached a point for ordinary human to comprehend. We must understand that counting the dead cannot measure the sorrow of the living. Manipur occupies a very complex and often marginal position in the national imagination when reasons are not constantly attended to. Realities are understood only in fragments. Today, we focus our attention to what statistics cannot. Mothers mourning, families displaced, communities in fear, and invite the nation to witness the unfolding human reality in Manipur. The above mentioned incidents are not isolated events. They form a pattern reigniting violence whenever normalcy seems to return. Some speak of invisible hands orchestrating the terrifying attacks and chaos. To many of us, it is not invisible. It is a deliberate blindfold worn by those in positions of responsibility for undisclosed reasons. In such context, violence does not always appear as a sudden rupture. It becomes patterned, something communities anticipate, adapt to, and sometimes must live alongside. For children and youth, these conditions are particularly severe. Their early experiences are shaped not by secure facilitative environment, but by shock, fear, hatred, and precariousness. This sense of safety, so fundamental to development and self-worth for the young generation, is now filled with hopelessness, doubts, and confusion. They are exposed to even greater risk. In the long run, these affects our self-development and the ways they relate to the world. It is within this context that the deaths of these two young children that we are focusing today must be understood. The loss is not only a tragedy, it reflects conditions which are allowed to persist in the context of Manipur. Perhaps it is from this shared uneven human understanding that we can begin to close the distance between the lived realities and the distant observation. What is at stake is not only the present moment, but the longer shaping of social and psychological life. This is why responses must move beyond immediacy. Accountability remains essential. Acts of violence must be addressed transparently, fairly, and promptly. But alongside accountability, there is also a need for sustained engagement. Security is not only about control. It involves rebuilding trust, supporting communities, and addressing conditions that allow violence to occur. Listening to the suffering of the communities is central. The people of Manipur are not distant subjects. They are individuals with lived knowledge of their own realities. Their voices must shape the responses. We must also recognize the ongoing psychological impact. anger, fear, loss do not fade quickly. As one of the renowned psychologists says, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, in her book on death and dying, responses to grief and trauma often shape through 5 stages. The first is denial, second is anger, third is bargaining, then comes depression, and then acceptance. It is a very long process. Psychologically, it's a very slow process to understand grief. In Manipur today, denial seems to hold little space because loss is no longer unexpected. We may be uncertain about the timing of loss, but losing life is no longer a surprise. It has become a reality. It has become a part of the normal life. Instead, many civilians remain in the state of anger as they have been repeatedly denied the time and clarity needed to process their own grief over multiple times. This is a complexity that I cannot fully capture here today. However, I'd like to flag that addressing these stages of grief and trauma requires sustained care, especially for younger generations. Finally, there is a broader responsibility we all share, particularly those who shape public narratives. We must resist emotional distance as humans. We must remain attentive, even when events are not immediately visible. What appears peripheral is, in fact, central to the lives of many. Ultimately, this is not only about Manipur. It is about how we understand human connection, responsibility, and belonging within a shared national space. Are we able to hold realities not immediately our own within our concern? Are we able to respond not only to crises, but to conditions that precede them? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary. As we reflect on the recent loss of 2 young children, perhaps the most meaningful response is not only to mourn, but to remain engaged. To continue asking, to continue listening, and to continue paying attention. And let this not remain the same. Thank you. We will now open the floor for question and answer. And after that, we will have a concluding session with the chaired by Dr. Komal. Open the floor.
There is a new chief minister in Manipur. He has been there and the party response, the BJP is there. So, have you written to the chief minister on as a complaint of these atrocities? Because first the state subject the law and order. So the complaint has to go to the chief minister and the state home minister in writing. Then they will take the appropriate action. If no appropriate action is taken, then Amit Shah and other people come. And whatever you have said, we have come to know that the atrocities are there. But is it one out of many, or it is a continuous atrocities? The first or there are some atrocities are there. Is it continuing or thereafter there is some sort of or any police or anything has done some action on this.
Would you like to speak or can I ask?
We're writing down the questions.
Okay.
Maybe 3 questions.
First question is about the suspension of operation. What would you like to say regarding this? The next one, how the violence affect the people from both sides. So there is some buffer zone. So how the forces will protect people, because there is a valley area as well as the hill area. So the killer from the top, and they fired rocket from there. So who is the responsible? Is the state government or the army or the central government? What would you like to say? And what the next action the government will take? The next question is what the government will take in order to stop this kind of violence. Is from my side.
My question is regarding this rocket bomb which was fired. Whether it was specifically targeted or it was randomly hit, and whether any other devastations also took place, because rocket bomb has a larger effect. It affected only one family, or other devastations also took place.
We will start with the responses before taking into the questions.
Once again, I would like to humbly remind everyone that we are not experts in this area. We just want to contain what is going on there and contain some of the sufferings that people are going through. We will make an attempt, but we may not come up with the right kind of solution or the absolute correct solution. So the first question was, have you written to the Chief Minister? There are many CSOs that have been, these have been reported, and the Chief Minister of the state is very well aware of it. And we have seen on the violent but to some extent, I believe that this could have been handled by the state police and the state forces. And it is very clear to everyone that there is a CRPF camp just a kilometer away, which is between the Kuki dominated areas and the Meiteii villages on the outskirts. This is way outside of the Impal area. So they would not come and attack the Impal area. They would target the peripheries mostly. So this has already been reported. CM is already aware of it, and I don't know what kind of other steps they are going to take.
To the first question regarding the atrocities, some atrocities are there. This is not about conquering the question. When we say some atrocities, are we going to measure atrocities in terms of quantity or quality? Along with quantity, which is intermediate. One killed, one injured, two killed, two injured. If we are going to that, maybe we will not find answer to that. But the intensity of the atrocities, where you hurt the most. This is happening. If the breadwinner of a family is targeted and killed, what will happen to the family? If the husband is killed, what will happen to the wife and the children? Or if a single mother, if she is killed, what will happen to the children? So, how long? When you say that you want a separation or whatever, or union territory, when you are targeting and killing the civilians, but you are not confronting the government, then aren't your aims and objectives diverting yourself, but just as a action for committing atrocities? You beat the person, you go on beating the person, the pain will not be felt anymore. So how long? The more you commit atrocities, 2-3 days there might be some things out there, but you are moving away from your objective. This is what we say, and let us not measure atrocities in terms of quantity or quality, but a very good question that why these atrocities happen to the civilians, why not with the security forces, why not with the government officials with whom that you are targeting, you are demanding. If I may continue, my other speakers will also answer regarding about the Sud. What will we say about the Sud now? The Sud was first signed because historically, sometimes, because things that happen today, without a background, it doesn't just happen like that. The Sud was signed with Assam Rifles in 2005. And then Government of India and Government of Manipur signed again in 2008. When all these Sioux were signed with so-called 20 plus above Kuki militant outfits, we never understand that was there any even 5 encounters or fights between security forces and the militants. Because if you look at the history of the insurgency, militancy, nationalist movement or any other movement, whether it is Assam, Nagaland, Mizoram, Manipur, Tripura, you will know that the arm has first targeted the security officials. You look at all, if you look at the example here in Manipur, all the valley-based militants or NSCN, if you look, they all target, they all find armed groups fight with security forces, armed and armed means to fight, and target what we should do, exactly. But here we do not know. But it has been continued, and from the text of the people that are paid, an amount of stipend has been paid. And according to the Sioux, you said that there will be no further recruitment. So when the Sioux was first started signing, along with the government in 2008, and the militant, his age is 25 years old. And in 2025, when you find out the count that some of the age which got filtered out in the media or through some known sources, that when a 25-year-old, 26-year-old, or even a 30-year-old is there in the Sioux militant group, what does it indicate? The person who is 25-year-old in 2008 will be 25-year-old till 2025, which you are violating. Doesn't the Sioux signatory know about this? Then what is the purpose of putting the Sioux? Because we know that the Sioux leader will form another organization, and that is called a non-Sioux, and then there is targeted, as we hear about some other groups like UK. And Sioux, which is a foreign-based, some groups like the Zerano, which is Myanmar-based. Why India government is signing a Sioux with a Myanmar-based foreign militant group? You will again bring here geopolitics. But we all know that every country has a stand for geopolitics, for external security, for defense mechanism, and an internal security system. But what has been going on in the hills of Manipur, I don't think many of them will not clear in the videos. Certain vested interests are acting forward for this, we all know that. So, for us is that we believe now with all the transitory actions that has been taking place, the root of some of these Manipur problems is Sioux. So why Sioux is exterminated? That is the reason why, according to Bernard Blackwell, when things were not happening right in Spain during the 16th century rebellion in Spain, this person remarked, when all the actions are being taken, but the roots are kept intact. Why is the government keeping the root intact in the form of Sioux or in the form of any understanding in such a manner, and foreign-based group, why this understanding has been kept? But this is what, this the elephant in the room in the Manipur issue. This is what we want. I like the opportunity to give the other speakers to reply to that.
Yeah, I will start with issue once again that we have been asking the government that why the government is continuing the suspension of operation when the militants are killing only civilians and not when we, the entered into the peace agreement between the government and that, any underground group. When that underground group is, the rebel group is fighting against the state, then only we enter into the agreement. But here is, that the group that I say that the militant group, they have not fired even a single bullet against the government of India. And why is the agreement, their government is continuing this agreement? And what is the basis of this agreement? This is what we have been asking. Well, second point that one of the members asked, the rocket launcher, right? So rocket launcher or that, the drone bomb and RPG, these are all fired randomly. And that we have already seen the sequence when the baby was sleeping that, in the mother's lap and they were killed. Then the priest was performing that, this Radha in the Moirang, he was killed. The farmers were farming in the field, they were killed. So that is randomly fired from the, the hilltop. So that what we have been asking is, whenever that some semblance of peace is restored in the state, and all of a sudden, then again the violence, the starts, but that the destabilization or that the attack again will start. So we have seen that when the new government was formed, then that the groups were targeting their members who are joining the new government, saying that we should not join the government and we need that separate administration. Unless separate administration is given, no government, no peace. So that is the reason why that the deputy chief minister was not allowed to come to Imphal. So that remotely she was taken out from Delhi. So second point, what I am saying is that the rocket, the RPG, and these are we have already seen that these are randomly to disturb the peace. Say recent again that when in 2024, when the peace negotiation started between the communities, the Khattal group, they clearly say that we love the peace, so we do not want to fight that or that we are not cookie, so that we don't want to divide Manipur. So they wanted to have dialogue with the meiteii group, and they came to Imphal, and that the moment they returned, that the leader was assassinated, right? So what I'm saying is, whenever when certain semblance of peace is restored, immediately they will start the violence. So recently that the CM's Kemchan went to the Imphal by road, then started these issues, right? Then again the Khattal group started their festival called Hun Festival. They wanted to say that we want peace, and at the very they are doing the festival, so they are disturbing that why you are doing that the Hun Festival. These are the things that destabilizing this continuously. Then again third, shoes again. Shoes I have already answered. The question to the government, yes sir, that we have been asking to the government, and we have been, that the the whole that the purpose of this today's press conference is that we, through the media, we want to convey to the government, convey to the the world that why that the government is not acting against the terrorists, right? So that you have been noticing that from the beginning of the 2023, that in the initial stage of press that the more violence happened, the retaliation happened, that thereafter you will not have the come across even a single bullet from the Meitei area. So this is the thing that we have been facing. We have been asking to the state that includes the government of India, government of Manipur, and the security forces, central security forces. Why is that the 60,000 security forces? And the skill that we are seeing that witnessing the bunker and that the on the hilltop. Why we are removing that bunkers? Why is that the de facto buffer zone that the government of of India or that state is not that the accepting the buffer zone, but whenever you want to go, then that security force will stop you to move ahead or beyond the very area. This is what that we are sandwiched, we are squeezed in the that small very area. Now you will not find on this planet the 3 years the Meitei cannot move out from their own that the area that small that local. You will not find on this planet the 3 years that national highway is blocked. This is that is very and you have not come across that this much long the conflict, that in the world. Yeah, thank you.
एक क्वेश्चन आया था, ये जो बॉम्ब इस जवान का घर में गिरा है, ये रैंडमली किया है, ये टारगेट है? मुझे लगता है ये बीएसएफ जवान छुट्टी में आया था, he was on leave and he went in the first week of March to his unit in Bihar. So उसने ये बंदा बिहार में पोस्टिंग है और मणिपुर में आया है फैमिली के साथ, वो ड्यूटी में नहीं है, फिर भी being a जवान he might have gone and mixed up to his BSF unit, he might have gone to the CRPF, somewhere he might be roaming around by thinking he is a BSF जवान, वो लोग के साथ बात कर so मुझे लगता है ये इसके घर में स्पेशली टारगेट क्यों किया है, इसके घर में क्यों टारगेट किया है? एंड ही इज ए बीएसएफ जवान है, इसका फैमिली है, जब इस वापस चला गया उसके बाद में इसके घर में टारगेट करके इसको जानबूझकर मारा है, मेइतेई के बीएसएफ जवान का फैमिली को जानबूझकर मारा है। और इसमें no representative from the government of India condemned this killing of these two innocent child. This is what it hurts as a mother, as a woman, and as a Meitei woman, it hurts. And not only Meitei woman, each and every woman, each and every mother in this world will be hurt. After seeing this incident, we being a mother are not able to keep quiet. And second, आप देखिए, मैं एक और बात बोलना चाहती हूँ, ओलंपिक गेम 2020 जापान में हुआ था, तो कोई किसी ने मेडल नहीं लिया था। भारत की देख रही है मेडल किसने लिएगा। हम लास्ट में एक हमारा मीराबाई चनू, उसने सिल्वर मेडल लेकर इंडिया का फर्स्ट गोल्ड सिल्वर मेडल लिया, इंडिया का फर्स्ट मेडल लिया और उसने भारतीय हमारे इंडिया की इज्जत बचाया है। ये सबको याद होना भी चाहिए। एंड वी नीड सपोर्ट फ्रॉम द पीपल ऑफ भारत, not only from Manipur. And we Meiteis are very spiritual, noble-hearted, and peace-living people. And we are in hope. And we request the government of India, please don't force this innocent civilian of Meitei to take a gun and don't let them to go to the wrong direction with the wrong decision. That's all.
On the same question, along the line that others have responded, I just want to say one more word. If the attack was random, would it matter whether it was random or targeted? What matters more here is knowing that there has been a series of attacks already. The state is aware of it, but still arms are allowed. They are not corrected. So if this continues, the firing will continue and more will be killed. That is more of a concern. And having arms after these directives of surrendering arms, it is illegal. This is something the state clearly knows about. Someone who knows the Indian Constitution, who knows law and order, knows clearly that arms, random or deliberate firing of arms is a crime. Nobody's taking attention, giving attention and taking action against it. But the question is violence and murdering a constitutional means to achieve any kind of political demands? This is insane.
Just a short reply to regarding the buffer zone. Buffer zone has become a controversial two words in Manipur. According to UN definition, it is an area created for safety between two countries or an area for security purposes. The government has said there is no buffer zone in Manipur. The security forces once said that these certain areas are being maintained as a kind of a security zone. And then when things were escalating in 2023 and in 2024, some of the areas that are periphery between the hill areas and the valley areas where the Kuki-Zo community stay and the Meitei community stay, those areas which were targeted by bombs, drones and bullets were marked as red areas. So we are in a traverse between buffer zone, security zone, red zone. Who will be able to do this? Who will be able to take us? Which zone is which part? And which zone is red zone, which zone is this thing. But to fit the propaganda and the narrative, certain groups, I don't think the common Kuki people, are using the word, even in their notifications, like Kotu, IPLF, always will maintain the buffer zone. That is to fit the agenda. The natural projectiles of a geography of ascending and descending into a hill and valley area has been fitted according to the place where the community stay to be demarcated as buffer zone, means along with physical separation, the emotional and the mental separation. But will it work in the long run until and unless some supportive element or groups are there? It may be from the formal structure or informal or with invisible or visible hands. But the end question is to continue like this, to maintain any kind of zone, for how long it will continue? When it will be the end point? So what is it a factor that in almost 3 years the end point has not been reached? Only the government will be able to take this.
A few more questions if there is any. If there are no more questions, we would like to proceed by summarizing what we have presented today. And over to Professor Omar.
Without reiterating the incident, I would like to summarize and highlight a few points that we wish to appeal to the government and convey to the world through the media as follows. Number one, repeated atrocities and killing innocent children, women are cowardly, inhuman act that demand the most severe punishment. We believe that India has failed to safeguard its citizens, which may compare to that take up arms to defend themselves. Civilians should not be allowed to take up arms. Therefore, we appeal to the government to crack down on militant activities and respond quickly. The government's unwillingness to provide the exemplary punishment embolden the militants, and they have continued to commit the same crime, same atrocities since the conflict began in 2023. Whenever some semblance of peace is restored in the state, violence is soon perpetuated to keep the conflict alive. We want to know that who the invisible hand is that keeps the pot boiling. The government must fix a timeline to disarm all militant activities and their terror infrastructure in the hill, including the bunkers. So, this Indian military, one of the world's most formidable forces, truly incapable of neutralizing these militants, or is it a deliberate policy to keep Manipur boiling? Why the government is continuing the suspension of operation with the militants who are targeting or killing innocents, not even that fired a single bullet against India. So I'm asking to the media or that the request in the media to explore what is the basis of this peace deal. So of course my colleagues that have already explained that all the issues on this. So we demand again, we also demand appropriate action against the CRPF personnel who killed the civilian and injured many at Ronglaubi during the protest, or punish the officer who ordered the incident or ordered the fire. So thank you very much for, I know that coming and that the hearing our voices, hearing our pain, and once again thank you.
Thank you everyone for your kind presence and listening to us deeply. I think we are going to conclude here today this session. There's a small refreshment right outside the room. Please.